case is part of the court processes, and usually, if you happen to be somebody who comes to court and sitting when some of these criminal trials are going on, defense team always apply this technique or strategy in making this submission of no case. But we are very hopeful, and we know that on the side of the prosecution there is a strong case, and we believe that NAM1 has a case to answer. So we leave that one to the court to decide on the 10th July that the date is fixed for. This year, we have decided to vote because of our money. As customers, we have decided to vote because of our money. We appreciate the moves by the Office of the Attorney General in taking this case to the higher courts. And so far, so good. We are very happy with the kind of commitment exhibited by the Attorney General, the Office of the Attorney General, including the AG himself, the Deputy, and the DPP. We don't want any blackmail. So if he's a political national security officer, we are cautioning him that this time he should be very professional and ensure he should be the person who should rather take the plight and the welfare of customers to the government so that they will be moved to pay the customers. So far, more than 220 people have died.
So that was
Fred
Mr. Folsom, yeah,
absolutely. He speaks for the aggrieved MenzGold customers. So yesterday, after Justice Ernest Owusu-Dapa has adjourned the case to July 10 to deliver a ruling, and that ruling will mean is two things. One of them will happen. Is either NAM1 will be acquitted and discharged for prosecution not able to prove or no prima facie, or the court will ask him or order him to enter the witness box and explain, because there is a question for him to answer. So on the 10th, we'll know whether NAM1 will step into the witness box or will be allowed to go home free of charge. So that's what we expect on July 10th.
Let's head to the ambulance case.
Yes.
It got interesting yesterday when the minority served notice that any time Atufosun goes to court, they will boycott parliamentary proceedings.
Yes, so that issue came up yesterday. But just before I touch on that issue, yesterday, the audio and controversy at the center of this whole thing was the subject matter of the court sitting yesterday. It was played.
Okay.
And just when it was about to be tendered in evidence, then prosecution raised objection. The first thing that they said, Director of Public Prosecution, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra-Bobisa, said, look, there's no proper foundation for the tendering of this particular audio. Secondly, they have not been able to demonstrate the relevance, how relevant this whole matter is. And they made reference to the court's earlier ruling, the rulings on the mistrial and the other applications. The court is saying that even this particular audio was taken just recently, and the court has found as a fact that there's an issue or the case for the accused persons to answer. So the court should look at its own ruling and say that this tape is not. The lawyers of Dr. Kasiel Atufosun, led by Dr. Abdul Basit Bamba, vehemently opposed. He described it as a frivolous, unattainable, and want the court to dismiss it. One of the things that is a frivolous, if you look at what is contained in the tape, no. It is the subject matter that is before the court. They were discussing LCs, they were discussing about who gave, and so the court should admit it, assess it, and make sure that its content is considered at the end of the trial. Then he also made a point that Attorney General is the one who is supposed to initiate all criminal proceedings.
Right.
If he's supposed to prove his case by calling witnesses, now he's talking to an accused person on what basis? So he himself has even committed what he described as contempt of court. Because he's bringing administration of justice to dispute. But Justice Efiasewa Saribochi has fixed tomorrow, Thursday, June 13th, yes, to deliver a ruling in respect of that objection, whether the objection will be sustained or overruled. If it's sustained, means that it will not be allowed. It will not be tendered. Absolutely. But if it was overruled, the objection is overruled, then it will be tendered and the court relied on. So when the case was about to be adjourned, then the issue of parliament came in. And the judge, asked it to have pleaded with the parties to help her to finish this case. He said, help me. Let me finish this case. He made reference to Mama Yariga. You notice that at some point in time, Mama Yariga also had issues, Parliament, then Michael Kwe. routes to the court when he was going through issue. And the court said, look, in relation to criminal matters, you just have to be present in court. So the court is saying that, help me, let me help you. If there are issues that you want to travel, let it come to the attention of the court on time. So that is how that particular case ended. So tomorrow, we have the opportunity to be in court and we'll hear what the outcome of the ruling in relation to the objection raised by prosecution. But let's hear from the Deputy Attorney General. There were many who were asking the question about the Attorney General, Godfred Yeboah, wasn't present in court. Was in relation to the advice by Justice Efia-Sewa Saribotwe? And what is the difference between the objection that they are raising now and the court decision to evaluate the tape during the ruling on the mistrial? Let's hear the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayebo.
You were raising objections to the changing of this vehicle. What exactly are you raising that you are signing to this?
I think you heard the DPP. She raised about 2 objections. One about relevance, then one about constitutional infractions. So I'm not going to details here in court. The judge will definitely give a ruling on it, so you know where it could be.
There are many who are wondering about the fact that in the rulings of this application, the court admits this very video. Now, it's been tendered to the accused person and then there's an objection. Many will want to know what's the difference.
Yeah, when it comes to motions, the judge explained, motion for mistrial, that document was exhibited and the judge said she was going to consider because the basis of mistrial was that something untold had been done. The judge needed to ascertain whether from the tape something bad had been done by the learned AG. And the judge was so clear that AG was not heard on that tape, suggesting that the third accused person should implicate the first accused. So that is settled, sealed. And so today, what they're saying is to tender the same tape. So they said, fine, if you want to tender, you must show that it is relevant to the issues you are going to contest in this matter. And that's why we demonstrated that it's not relevant so far as the determination of whether they are guilty or not guilty or the issues involved are concerned. So that's the difference.
There are many who of the view that the last court sitting, the judge advised the Attorney General to look at the situation and if possible directly. He should not involve himself. Like, is that the reason we didn't see him today?
We are looking at it. So definitely you get to know whatever decision that he takes.
Has he taken the advice from the judge?
He's looking at it. So you wait. When the time comes, you definitely know the decision that he has taken.
Are we going to see him back in court on Thursday?
He's a lawyer. He comes to court as and when he deems it fit. If he thinks that on any day he needs to be in court, he will be in court.
But will he take part in ongoing trial?
You leave it for now and let's see the decision that he takes.
So that's Alfred Chiayebo.
Alfred Chiayebo, giving us perspective why the Attorney General was not in court. They say in the coming days we'll get to know. But for now, let's focus on what is happening. What is clear is that yesterday, Godfred Yeboah wasn't present in court. But let's hear from Sami Jemfi, who has been speaking for the defense team in relation to this matter, where the court made the indication that this particular tape has nothing to do with what is happening before.
If you look at the evidence on that pen drive, or the evidence that we have even put out in the media, that I know very well we put before the court, okay? There are WhatsApp chats between Japa and Godfred. And if you go through the WhatsApp chats, you realize that Godfred Dammy's interactions and meetings and telephone conversations with Mr. Japa did not start 2 weeks ago. You will know that those interactions started as far back as February 2022 at the outset of the case. Even before the Attorney General will call his first prosecution witness, he was having these interactions with Japa. Japa has testified to these matters in his affidavit before the court, where he had a meeting with him and he told him that, I know you are innocent, but I cannot enter nolli prosequi for you because it will expose my real motive, which is to persecute Attoforsen. So wait, when we get to the submission of no case stage, you'll be left off the hook. That was not a meeting had two or 3 weeks ago. These were discussions held years ago. So when you see people reducing everything to this tape, which was recorded on the 9th of April, after, yes, a prima facie case had already been determined, they are not assessing the evidence holistically. Because on the tape, You hear Japa saying that you have been meeting me in my cousin Kolendi's house on several occasions. Is that on the tip or not? Now, those meetings happened 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. No,
But DPP
those meetings happened at the outset from the beginning of the case. So these issues about bad faith on the part of the Attorney General did not start today. They go to the very foundation of the case. So don't fall into that trap.
So that's the National Communications Officer for the NDC,
Sammy Jenfi.
Yeah.
He's saying that, look, we have a lot of evidence that we have not even put before the court. He made reference to the WhatsApp
But
discussion.
why wait till now before tendering in evidence?
He said the WhatsApp discussion dated back as far as 2022. So it's not now that the issue, as claimed by us, ruled by the judge, that the issue came after the court had made a determination that there is a case for the accused persons to answer. So we will know what will happen in the coming days. They have indicated they will file a complaint. You know, one issue is that you are saying that Attorney General has done ABs. You haven't filed any complaint yet. They said they know when to file that complaint.
When?
Until when? They have their own timing.
Okay.
To file and also send a petition.
We are patiently waiting.
The GHOne, yes. So that's what happened really. So tomorrow.
To the ambulance case.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Abesim murder trial.
Yes.
That also came up yesterday.
Yes.
But my question is, was that case called? Because the jurors are still on strike.
It was called before the High Court. And in fact, the jurors, of course, they are on strike, so no show. Yesterday, the court was expected to meet all the parties for what we call case management completion plan, where they are taking various dates. The court had earlier indicated that it doesn't mind to conduct this case day to day. But of course, the jurors were absent, and the matter was, as it were, adjourned to July 1. So on July 1, this very case will come up before the High Court, and the court will ensure that for business to be conducted. But what is clear is that this very case has suffered again because of the absence of the jurors. Yes.
What of the Cecilia Dapa maid's case? One of the infamous cases in this country.
Yes. Yesterday was a heavily packed and busy court from the ambulance case. NAM1 ended close around almost 4.
Oh, wow.
Then we have Madam Cecilia Dapa's case, the maids. And yesterday, Daniel Osekufo was present in court. Daniel Osekufo was present in court. And the accused persons are subject to. And now, it is the turn of Patience Butchie. Lawyers of Patience Butchie, the housemaid of Madam Cecilia Dapa, are subjecting Daniel Osekufo to further cross-examination. Justice Marie Louise Simon. So that case came on yesterday. Daniel Osekufo was subjected to cross-examination. Some of the accused persons, in fact, 2 of the remain were done with him, and now Patience Butchie subjecting him cross-examination. This case came on yesterday, and to continue today. So today we expect Daniel Osekufo, the husband of Madam Cecilia Dapa, to be back in court, and lawyers of Patience Butchie will subject him to further cross. In addition to this case, yesterday there was an action, and today we expect further action to happen in relation to this very case. So Lily, in relation to the Cecilia Dapa's housemaid, this is what yesterday Daniel Osekufo was present in court, and today he'll be back for further cross-examination from lawyers of Patience Butchie.
Now let's look at today. What are some of the cases? The Saglemi housing case is also in court today.
It's on. Alaji Colin without that.
That's the man in your shorts, yeah.
Angel. Always
yes,
wearing,
he's always in white.
I have promised to ask him why he's been wearing white all the time. That has been his costume all the time. He's in white and all that. So
he's suggesting he's pious.
He was present in court today. They're coming into court today, and the prosecution is expected to call their second witness. He has been in court, but he had many issues with the relation to the exhibit that he intends to attach to his witness statement. They want everything to be done in such a way that it will flow with the whole. So today, before Justice Ernest Owusu-Dapa, this case is coming on. Prosecution's second witness is expected to testify after the issues resolving relation to the exhibit that he is rely on in addition to his witness statement is resolved. So that's one of the cases that we expect.
And then Beige Bank?
Beige Bank, the 10th
one of the cases.
witness.
Yeah,
You expect that.
61 out of 10. So 51 more to go.
51 more
but
to go.
Were they allowed?
So what I do know now is that about 15 witness statements have been filed so far, from beginning from 1 to 15. So that one is clear. The remaining we'll get to know in the coming days. But what is clear today before Justice Ifiasewa Saribopye is that the 10th defense witness for Michael Nyineku is expected to testify. The remaining, the 9 have come. Some of them are branch executives, some of them are a senior position and all that. So they've all come to testify. And some of the leg or all the argument has to do with the fact that some of them are saying money is transferred, he never benefited. You can't accuse him. Customers were aware that their monies were being invested. They received some investment certificate, all that. So they claim that monies were removed or moved from customers' accounts to other places cannot hold because all the customers were aware their funds were being moved into anywhere. So that case is on, and then we expect the 10th defense witness for Michael Nyineku to testify today. Yes.
So these are some of the cases
Absolutely.
coming up.
And of course, those that will chance on them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You bring us reports on those. So thank you very much, Captain.
Thank you.
Our chiefs, all those people, we should make sure that we actually work against people, or we shouldn't support people that are in that particular kind of trade.
The video is ready, so I'll call for it so that we can have a better appreciation of what he said. Okay. If we can play the video now.
Petrol now, soldiers need security services here. What woman? I'm a road business with it. It is a while for a woman now of 5 million, 3 million, 10 million. Now the young person of two food, one of the man. Sadly, because the police for the soldiers going out around them at the office, at cases. More young man, you know, who you have left the room. And in Zinia, Obiba Petrol. As I said, when they are so while we money, the wild person of the man, on board in Mama. But so the paper said, or you saw your indicating too much in but too control my own and shark ideas or more Mumbo of Amaba. Oh, yes. So, my patrol or Baba Petrol. And the Akasa authority on the aid you must have mature, that Jeffrey said, in your whole year, they got a moment to one, or also young nigga, do the thing. I said, but the women is a woman I got a for. And Bravo, we are mobile, so here you make it. Or no, I want to move on with a bomb. So, Moon is as seen as we try. More than 2 3 months as seen as we in the chat. Meaning, sight, only police for Kenya or Mamma Shia, your quiet call can be more, and the police will do check will be out. But the open be out, or I'll be out about a week of about 3, 4, 5. When you have Mamma police me, or when you want me, I buy your mocha. When you have Mamma Sujani, or when you want me, I buy your mocha. And if you also got an idea, I want to go to soon. A perform action now. Hey, to go, there will be better to say police in you. Let me what to go. What you see and the answer, man. Picture me a cracker. And Lutina, on what you list, and I'm watching with Dina number. Nina, watching number on the creative platform. Platform and medals, PMC, medals, the regional minister, and the neighbor to now, yeah, say, what they say. So, what site the video we found now in the air? Would you baby and then 20 dinner? Now, voice message, actual platform, this is say, Mrs. Vicenzo, asomdwe soldiers will be abaha almost say almost vaccine then to say machine the fair machine or family proceeding time some men 90 year and better friends is on workers are easy.
So that's the parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East, Ernest Frimpong, in a meeting with Minus, where he made such unfortunate comments. Tabitha?
Yes.
So at least you've listened to your parliamentary candidate.
Yes, so just as I said earlier, I condemn it in every form that it appears and whatsoever he means to send across. I think this fight hasn't started today. We are still fighting it. And so to have a very important person like him and a leader of a political party or a constituency say some of these things is rather unfortunate. And it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And so I don't support illegal mining any day because I am a trained environmentalist. So
right.
Yes, so it's
so you know what it does to the environment.
Yes, it's one of the things that actually gets me more emotional. I am tilted towards more of environmental chemistry, more of analytical chemistry, and so I have so much knowledge when it comes to the havoc it can have on our environment. And so this is not something that should be accepted, nor try to make it look, no, it shouldn't be encouraged. I understand, you know, at times politicians, when they are meeting people, at times they get carried away along the line and they may say things. I want to believe it is one of those instances, and probably he got carried away, you know, because of, at times, because of votes. Some people may say things they know very well that they can never deliver, because I don't think he will be happy to see illegal mining happening in his constituency. But maybe for political expediency or for whatsoever reason, I cannot tell. And so the bottom line is that it shouldn't be encouraged, and it's unfortunate.
From now that you mentioned that you're an environmentalist or environmental scientist, what's the extent of what is the extent of damage we're seeing now? I mean, we've all seen pictures. What does it do to us as a people?
You know, it destroys our very nature as human beings. I have seen pictures where people give birth to kids without limbs. People give birth to kids who cannot use their their mental health has been undermined because of the chemicals that they have ingested. And quite apart from that, you can also look at the kind of vegetation that we have, and especially, you know, those kind of activities happen in aquatic areas, or should I say areas where there's water. And these chemicals, when they enter into water, they also destroy the aquatic animals, or should I say the animals that live inside the water. And apart from the water, the animals that live in the water, you talk about the plants too. So there was even a time that our the very food that we produce was also like there were traces of some poison. When I say poison, I mean some of those heavy metals that are not supposed to be ingested by us. They were there, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It brings about even miscarriages in women. It brings about all those things. And so this should never be encouraged whatsoever. It should never be encouraged.
The NDC yesterday released a statement. This came after the Ghana Armed Forces released a statement to condemn, caution the public against attacking men in uniform, because there will be reprisal attacks because they're equally human. However, the NDC says the Ghana Armed Forces failed to condemn the parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East. If my director can put that up on the screen. My cough this morning. I read excerpts of the statement which says the National Democratic Congress has taken note. Okay. In the said video, one Mr. Ernest Frimpong, the parliamentary candidate of the New Patriotic Party, the Amenfi East constituency of the Western region, made other diamond submissions. He mentioned that Operation Galam Stop, Operation Vanguard, Operation Halt 1 and 2 have all been suspended by his MPP government. Therefore, Galamseyers are given the green light to mine without any inhibition from anyone, especially the police and military. Now, Tabitha, my question is, from where you sit, has Operation Galam Stop halted? Been suspended in any shape or form?
No, I don't think it has been suspended. They are still working, but probably not in the capacity they were working, because we all know that mining activities, especially illegal mining activities, has reduced drastically over this period of time. And so I don't think that they have just gone back to sleep. No, probably they are working, but working on a small scale, or like not in a very big capacity. But that doesn't mean that they are not working. They are working. They are surveying areas, especially areas that are highlighted or areas that are seen to be where illegal mining activities are going on. Now, looking at what the NDC is saying, I think that the GAF, or the Ghana Armed Forces, made an open statement. The statement was not targeted at one person. They wanted all Ghanaians to understand that regardless of your position, regardless of your affiliation, if you do anything untoward to them, they will come for you. And so it is an open statement to whoever it may concern. Right. You don't need to necessarily pinpoint some people to tell them. They are sending a reminder to all Ghanaians to know that this is what their response will be if there should be any form of attack on them. So to come out and to make it look like they should target it to one person, it's unfortunate. It has to be open. You know, we are also in an electioneering year. This particular year, we'll be choosing, God's willing, my candidate, I believe, will be the one that will win at the end of the day. And we know some of the associated problems that come during elections. Anything can happen. And so it is just a warning to all of us, be a politician or whoever. I think there was a time I came here and we had to talk about some celebration going on, and then some youth decided to attack the military, and they also responded in equal force, and there was a casualty and all those things. So the statement is open to whomever or to whoever it concerns, that if you have any wrong, whatever, towards ill intent towards them, they will come for you. And that is exactly what they should do. They don't need to take sides. They don't need to apportion blames. No, they just need to make an open statement to send a warning out there for people to know that if you misbehave, we will come for you. So their call is in the right direction, if you asked me.
So Haja Sadat Alasan has joined you. Haja, belated happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Good morning.
Then
you are late.
Really, this birthday trended.
Yes.
I don't remember telling you.
I know. I saw it.
Oh, I see. Thank you, Lily. Lily,
welcome.
Good morning to you, and then good morning to my co-panelists. Good morning to our viewers, and let me apologize for coming late. Lily, in fact, the reason why I'm late this morning, last night, I got home around 5 in the evening. My children, according to my kids, they got home and the light was already off. And so we slept in Doomso last night.
I equally did.
Okay. So thank God you equally did, so that I wouldn't be seen as politicizing it. And so the light came around 4 a.m. At the time, I said, okay, let me just quickly pray and then iron my kids' uniform and iron mine. It went off again. And it was raining as well. So viewers should please pardon me on that.
So I don't know if you've seen the video or the audio of the Amenfi East parliamentary candidate of the NPP, who made insightful comments for miners to attack men in uniform anytime they are confronted on their mine sites. I don't know if you have seen it. Let me take your initial comments and then the statement made by your party.
Okay, Lily. Once again, let me say good morning to you. We've seen soldiers being beaten. The ugly one amongst it all is Adams Mahama in the fight against Galamsey. The same Galamsey, the president, without anybody pressurizing him or putting gun on his head, that said, I am going to put my presidency on the line. This goes a long way to justify the Frimpong Boateng's report. What did the Frimpong Boateng report say? That it is party activists, MPP party activists, that are involved in Galamsey. Mention few names that are connected to Galamsey. Just the recent one at Wasa, a police was in the same region. Yes, in the same region. A police, a armed officer in a uniform, a military man in a uniform, butchered like an animal, and he's still battling with his life. Now, lo and behold, we find a dishonorable man or dishonorable men, because this is a man supposed to be a parliamentary candidate for the MPP, together with the regional minister, inciting the youth against the military men. This is shameful. It's disgusting. It's something that I was not expecting him to be walking freely by now. He should by now be invited by the police. And of course, I think the military also have a military policemen by now.
Yeah, military police.
To answer questions on many of the soldiers who were beaten and butchered on Galamsey site. This clearly goes a long way to tell us that, of course, the MPP is bound of doing anything in as much as they will get power. This supposedly parliamentary candidate was doing this not for the interest of his people, not for the interest of the country, but for the interest of his political party. He goes the long way to tell them that a platform should be created so that if the military men should come there, they would call for reinforcement and they would call for support. It is one of too many that the MPP, on every blessed day, we have experiences of how cruel this political party is. Lily, and to say that you have MPP communicators, to even have, I don't know the right word to use to defend this. In fact, Lily, if this is how we're going to go about in this country, because we have power, it will get to a time where we will all have to run from this country. Our water bodies is worse than it was before, 10 times worse than it was before. And then you hear the president says, I heard my colleague saying that Galamsey fight has improved and that we have improved on it. And I don't know where she's getting that information from. Because the media houses, you, the journalists, pick up the fight against Galamsey. And you can testify, Lily, that the waters you saw before in 2016, the waters you saw in 2020, when the president put his own presidency on the line, is worse than it is now. And then you find a regional minister, a minister of state, sitting right there, inciting the youth against the military men. This is shameful. Very, very shameful. How did we get here as a country? What at all is it that you want that you have to go to this extent? Is it to say that, of course, it's your own people that killed Adams Mahama? Can we clearly say that? Can we clearly say that? The same, look, we have Operation Galamsey Stop, Operation Vanguard, Operation whatever. And then in the audio, you hear him say that all this Operation Galamsey Stop have been banned.
Well, it was not his statement. It was the minister's statement. That's the Western Region
By
Minister.
who? It has been banned by who?
Well, it's been suspended.
By their party leadership, by their president, by their vice president, in their caucus meeting, at their, cabinet meetings. That is where it is banned. That is where the announcement was given to them that the fight against Galamsey has been banned. Let us get serious in this country, Lily. Let us treat this country as if we have a next generation to leave this country for. Let us not loot everywhere in the corner of this country for our own interest because we have power. It's been 8 years, and we have still not come to a conclusion in fighting of Galamsey. And when we talk about Galamsey, Lily, we have legal miners. One can have a license legally to mine, but mine at the wrong place. And the Ghana Armed Force have the right to be there to protect our lands and our water bodies. And then a whole regional minister, a whole, I just don't want to use the word honorable, because they don't deserve the word honorable. And then Lily, the Ghana Armed Forces comes back to issue a warning. And then they generalize it. As if said they heard it from audio that they cannot even identify the voices of people who are talking. You have lost your men through the fight of Galamsey. And God being so good, you've had a video of members who belong to the government inciting people against it. The best thing to have done by now is to issue for their arrest, to investigate them, to find out who is even on top that is giving them that impunity in inciting the youth. You don't just issue a warning as if you heard something from the air. This is totally wrong. This is unacceptable. This is, we have to beg the MPP that Ghana does not belong to them. We have to beg President Nana Addo that Ghana is not part of the property his father left for him. Ghana has its owners and we are all part of it. Enough of destroying our nation, enough of stealing our resources, enough of inciting our youth in the wrong path. And so we are only calling on the Ghana Armed Forces that they should do the needful. They shouldn't be acting as if...
It's doing the needful, not also condemning or cautioning everybody who wants to force, to incite people. Anybody who wants to attack any man in uniform.
Lily,
is this not a way of cautioning people against that?
Lily,
because in the statement they mentioned that these are men, and so when you attack them and they are reprisal attacks, remember that they are equally humans.
Lily, did you hear them condemning the audio or the video that is circulating? They only caution. Why? Is there?
They have a reason.
Is the order for above so strong? In their statement, they didn't condemn the audio. It looks like they acted as if they didn't even have an audio and that they were just issuing a statement. But there is an audio, a video, circulating, which you have, which by virtue of that you have decided to issue a warning. You should have first condemned it, mentioned names, and shamed them, and then you go ahead to caution them. Don't caution the general public. It is so obvious that the MPP is good at doing something, and then when they are seen clearly...
You know, in the statement which I have here, it says that they have taken note of a viral of viral videos.
Okay. Read on.
Yeah. Calling for attacks on soldiers and other security personnel.
Okay.
We strongly wish to caution the public against such utterances.
Why can't they condemn it, Lily?
No, listen, it says, we therefore condemn any form of incitement or encouragement of violence against our soldiers.
Okay.
So they condemned it.
Okay. So they don't have the names of the people involved?
Well, I unfortunately, I cannot speak for the Ghana Armed Forces.
Of course, they have names of people who are involved. Are they scared of mentioning names to condemn it totally? To even, you see, Lily, let us all agree on this, that by now they should have been invited. By now, they should have been invited.
But how do we tell they have not been invited? Because maybe it's not been made public?
It has not been made public.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
One, and then this issue is in the public domain, and we are all discussing it. And of course, if the Ghana Armed Forces have issued any arrest or invited any of them, by now we should all be informed about it. They cannot invite them secretly, they cannot interrogate them secretly, and they cannot do anything secretly because this is in the public domain and every Ghanaian is concerned about this. Lily, when Adams Mahama was killed, I took more than 48 hours being in the room and asking myself, is this supposed to be my husband? Because when I first saw the video, I was told it was an armed robber. And the way they were even beating the guy and stoning him, I was telling the one who was telling me he's an armed robber that even if this guy is an armed robber, this is too much. Only for me to get to the news and realize that, no, this is a captain. Was he a captain before?
Yes,
I think he was captain before,
and then posthumously he was made a major.
Okay. I cried. It took me like 48 hours in the room. And I feel for the wife. And these are people's husbands.
And fathers.
People's sons, and daughters as well. And then you stand there because you don't have your son, you don't have a brother there, and so you stand and then you incite your people against them. And you hear from the man, he said, beat them. When you beat them, they will not come back again. Did he give the limitation to the beating? That beats them to this level and stop? You're only inciting them. You're only asking them.
He said they should beat him, and then if they call him, he will be there.
If they arrest them, they will be there. And so this man is talking from I mean, some strong source, like he had some strong pillar behind him. And so he has no fear of what he's saying. But this should be condemned. We should all condemn this. I always say this, that look, when your mother is dead and you say she's sleeping, in the night when everybody goes back to the mother, you go back and meet a smelling cough in the room, corpse in your room. And so let's all condemn it today, that you don't have a brother in the Ghana Armed Forces. Because tomorrow you might have one. And when it becomes worse, it will affect you, it will affect me, it will affect every of us. And so this is condemned. I see the MPP totally, I mean, I don't know what to say, but they are abusing the powers they have. And Frimpong Boanti has been vindicated on this. Clearly, Frimpong Boanti has been vindicated. And no MPP person can come out again and say that, no, we cannot link it up. Because Frimpong Boanti clearly said that it is the MPP who are involved in Galamsey. He mentioned names. He mentioned Chamaun to me. He mentioned, and it got to a point where they had a meeting, and then John Buedu said, of course, we have to go into Galamsey because the party needs money. And so this goes a long way to come back to the same president. His presidency that he has put in on the line is about time he stand on his feet, because it is his own people who are digging and spoiling our water bodies and again inciting the people against the military. This is very shameful.
Okay, we'll move on. Tabitha, do you have any rebuttals?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
okay.
I think because she came in late, she didn't hear my submission. So she decided to assume for me that we are condoning with whatever happened. It's unfortunate. Probably next time you should come early enough to hear what I said before you comment on what I said. Another thing is that when we talk about attacks on the military or maybe the police or whatsoever, if we are going to talk about how the NDC has also done same to them, I think it wouldn't be in a good, it's not going to be good. I don't believe in that kind of politics. The truth is that if there is any form of attack on them, they are telling us that they will also make sure that they retaliate.
They will respond in equal measure.
Yes. And so this is a warning to all of us. It doesn't really matter whether you are NDC or MPP. Recently, we've heard of attacks that they have also given to the police people. But all these things should be condemned. Nobody is condoning with it. And so if the Ghana Armed Forces comes out with a letter saying that anybody, they didn't even specify whether political party or whatever. They just said anybody who decides to attack them, they should prepare for them.
Especially because we are in an election year.
Yes. And so it is a warning to all of us. Doesn't really matter who is doing the wrong thing here. Whether NDC, NPP, even the youth. I even cited an example of what happened here when they were celebrating their chieftaincy, whatever, and the attack that they meted out to the military and what they also did in return and how everything ended. Please, let's not put ourselves into the mud. Let's try to get ourselves out of the mud. Let's try to do better going forward instead of going backwards to talk about things that you can't do. It's not everything you defend. Right. At a point, it's not everything that you defend. You need to understand that you are first a Ghanaian before you are probably an NDC or an MPP. And so maybe if she didn't hear my submission, I am going to tell her that I never, and I don't think I'll ever support anybody coming out to support illegal mining. Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to our next topic. Haja, if you have anything to say, if you don't, let's move on to our next topic. We'll talk about
Lily. When she says that I didn't hear her first submission, all right, and I didn't make reference to her. I made reference to MPP communicators. She may be one of them, but I made reference to MPP communicators defending this. And if she is also condemning it and we are all condemning it, then we should call on the Ghana Armed Forces to issue a warning to the individuals who are involved. Right. Do we have to wait for the youth or the galamseyers to attack the Ghana Armed Forces and then they retaliate and then in the end we lose human lives? Is that what she said? That of course the military said if they attack they will also retaliate, and then what happens? And then there will be chaos in the country and then people will lose their life, and then it will go a long way to affect individuals. It will go a long way to affect innocent children, women, because when a man dies, he leaves behind a wife and children. Is that what we are saying? What we are saying is that by now, I always make this reference. When George Floyd died, our president was the first person to stand with Black Lives Matters. Our president is still in the country. He's not out of the country. This video has been circulating for the past 3 days. And a man who appointed...
More than 3 days because it came out over the weekend.
Okay. And a man who appointed a regional minister.
Right.
A man who has a parliamentary candidate in this video. A man who says, I am going to put my presidency on the line, has not yet come out to even issue a statement to condemn this. Is it not shameful? In the part of the president who said, I am putting my presidency on the line.
You know, this
has your political party, wait, when you were talking, I am here.
Kindly hold on for her.
As your political party issued a statement to condemn what their own people have done?
That we are yet to see.
When we talk about let us be first Ghanaians, that is what it means. That your party hierarchies, your communication bureau, your secretary, your chairman, by now should have issued a statement. One, to either disassociate themselves from what is said in the video, two, to condemn it with all necessity. Have we heard that? We've not heard that. And so when you are talking about let us first be Ghanaians, no, some of us are Ghanaians already, and we continue to be Ghanaians. And that is why when you say something, you live by it. The presidency said he's going to put his presidency on the line. So by now, you heard your own people saying that they are doing galamsey and that any military man who comes there should be beaten. They don't really care.
The candidate in question has come out to clarify. We spoke to him on Monday on our network, and he said he was referring to minors, not illegal minors.
He was referring to minors.
Legal minors, not illegal minors.
Who can testify that those sitting there are legal minors or illegal minors?
Well, that we cannot ascertain, as of now.
Are we to go into the video to investigate and question everybody sitting there that, are you a legal minor, are you a legal minor? Even if you are speaking to legal minors, Lily, what is wrong is wrong. So you are telling legal minors to beat up soldiers. And that's when they are arrested, you go and build them. And then when we sit here and talk, and then, my sister, look, let's get serious. By now, if a political party as MPP, a serious political party, you are good at defending. Of course, we don't have problem with that. You defend everything. But then by now, your presidents at
can we now move on to our
your
next
president
topic?
by now should have issued a statement to condemn this. Don't come and sit here and say we should first be Ghanaians. We are all Ghanaians. Who is not a Ghanaian?
I was trying my best not to go into the mud with her, but unfortunately, I'm not going into the mud, but I'm just going to try remind her that if only she read the Professor Frimpong Manso's report, Boateng's report in bits, or she decided to pick and choose the ones that favored her, probably I should be reminding her on some things that he also wrote on his report. And he said, according to his report, that according to the report, the NDC did not only sponsor their candidate, but also supported independent candidates in the supposed strongholds of the MPP. And how did they do that? They did that using illegal mining. And the report also revealed that a former NDC deputy minister, who is also an MP for Wassa East constituency, has been actively mining in the Subri forest for years. My dear, you know, I said this kind of politics, we should try to mature ourselves out of it. We get ourselves out of this mess. But unfortunately, you want me to dig into some of these things. Honestly, what I am going to remind Ghanaians is going to be something that most of them wouldn't be happy or wouldn't like to be reminded about, or they don't want to think about it. And so right now, we are looking at the way forward, how to solve the problem going forward. Because if we are going to apportion blames here, they will break all of us. And to try to tell me that we are not serious, honestly speaking, let's be very careful with the way we use our words here. I can't look you in your face and tell you that you are not serious. It speaks a lot about who I am and the kind of training I had at home. If you are not a serious person, you wouldn't even get above, come here and sit here. So please choose your words well when you are sitting and talking to people.
Okay, so let's move on to our next topic. The government, I beg your pardon, it will be a struggle, but we'll sail through. The Minister of Education, Dr. Yaosei Aduchum, will present a bill to Parliament. Now, this bill will provide legal backing to the free SHS policy, so it will make it mandatory for every government to still keep the free SHS policy. And so whether NPP or NDC, free SHS becomes a policy for every Ghanaian. Let me take your thoughts on it, Ayla, since you ended. Tabitha, you might want to continue for me.
Yes. We all know that the free senior high school policy has been one of our flagship policies. It has been one of the policies that has benefited all Ghanaians, regardless of your religion, your gender, your location, whatsoever. The free senior high school hasn't only been a game changer in our educational system, but it has also opened doors for a lot of people that wouldn't have had that opportunity. I'll start by talking about the fact that if you look at gender parity, we have achieved gender parity at our senior high school level. And now you have more girls being in school than being on our streets or probably staying in the villages and not getting exposure to the outside world. I know there was a study that was conducted some time back, and a lot of women were complaining, especially in the urban areas, that lately they don't get girls to come and help them at home, and so they were crying. We all know the kind of stress that mothers go through. But it's not about just taking girls and giving them this kind of a chore to do. We are looking at upgrading these girls. We are looking at making sure that they become positive influences or people that will bring something on board as they are part of this country. And so in fact, being in the education sector too, I am pleased to inform you that a lot of girls are not only being educated formally, but also they get the opportunity of expanding their opportunities. Now you have a lot of girls being economically psyched. They know that life is not only about coming and giving birth and probably marrying, and that is all. They are seeing that there are more opportunities out there that they should explore. I say this, look, God has given all of us something to do in this life. And so one of our greatest, one of the things that we can do is to identify what we are supposed to do on earth. And education is one of the tools that helps us identify what we are supposed to do on earth. And these girls are taking opportunities and they are making themselves better. Honestly, when you look at children that are birthed by women that have had education, you realize that everything about them is good. Education-wise, health-wise, everything, economically, everything is better for them because of the exposure that their parents have had. And now if you look at the digitalization agenda that the world is in and how everything is moving forward, you can't afford to be an illiterate in this world that we are now living. You need to be able to at least be able to read something, use an electronic gadget, something. And these girls or these students are able to do these things because they've had the opportunity of going to the secondary school. Now, you realize that the Free Senior High School is not only about secondary education. We also talk about TVET and then the other allied educational ventures that is added to it. And you realize that now in our world, we need more of the TVET people. That is how it is going. And maybe a lot of people will have to have a rethink because some time back, people were thinking that technical and vocational training was only for the, excuse me to say, yeah, the dumb.
Didn't pass.
Yes, but it's unfortunate. That is a misconception, and we need to start educating people to have a better understanding of what TVET is. It's one of the engine of growth of every country. And so if you have TVET introduced, and it is also free, you have vocational, you have all these training going on, and it is free for people. You don't need to be affiliated to any political party to benefit this. It is something that we should encourage more people and even governments that will come after us to come and endorse. Now we know that before Free Senior High School was birthed, some people were of a different opinion that it's not going to be possible because of the capital intensiveness of the program. Honestly speaking, Free Senior High School is a capital intensive venture. If you look at the expenditure of government, you realize that most of our resources goes into Free Senior High School because the package that comes with it is not only free tuition, there is also free accommodation, that is the boarding facilities that they give to them. There is also free feeding, utilities are being paid, examination fees are being paid. All these things are things that Free Senior High School has absorbed from parents. And they go a long way to even provide some kind of support in the form of uniforms, and also you have books. And now they also introduce the one student, one tablet. And we have majority of the schools having free internet service where they are able to go online and access even schools online. And so the Free Senior High School policy birthed and by the MPP government is one that gladdens my heart, because I have seen the situation where a girl was in final year, that is secondary school. She was supposed to get some monies and register. That was the time that we didn't have free senior high school. This girl, unfortunately, ran out of options and rather ran into a man who claimed that he will help her pay her fees and subsequently pay her registration fee. Now, the man set a date for her to come and see him. She went, and unfortunately, the man had his way with her, but never honored whatever he said he would do for the girl. So the girl, too, in return, decided to take his phone and run with it. So, yeah. So she took the phone, went and sold the phone, and the man came to the school looking for the girl that she had stolen his phone. So investigations were conducted, and we realized that, unfortunately, this was what transpired, and the man didn't honor his part, and the lady bolted with his phone. So all these stories are now going to be a thing of the past. We grew up hearing our parents saying that they had to take their cloths, their GTP cloths, and go and sell just because they want to put their kids through school. Gone are the days that you go to MPs' houses, or probably people that are a bit financially okay. Then you have people lining up in their houses because they needed to look for money to go and pay for their boys to go to school. I remember before the introduction of free senior high school, students were made to pay not less than 1,500 Ghana cedis as admission school to go to secondary, admission fees rather, to go to secondary school, without even considering the termly payment and whatever that comes with it. So imagine if students were still made to pay, how many students will be going to school, especially with the current situation that we are faced with. So you realize that free senior high school is a brilliant intervention. And so in order to see that this intervention sees the light of day, so that our children that are coming after, these ones that will benefit under Akufo-Addo's administration, will also continue to enjoy it, so that no government will come and say, we are canceling free senior high school. No, rather we should be looking at governments that will come to make it better. Now, we know that some time past, there was this debate of students being given allowances and that they shouldn't be given, it should be cancelled and all that. You know, at times when we leave the door ajar, politicians will come and do whatever they want to do with it. But this brilliant intervention or proposal to get it, to have a legal back into it, I think it's a very brilliant idea. And I think that this is the government that Ghanaians need. This is the government that we should continue to put in power to ensure that regardless of your gender, your location, or whatsoever, you should benefit some basic things in this country, like the health insurance, like education, and other policies that are helping Ghanaians.
Haja.
Lily, free SHS policy, it's a good one, and nobody will deny that fact. In fact, it is a policy that's constitutionally, in our constitution, 20 years after, we would get to that point where our secondary education will become free, which, just like John Dramani Mahama started with the progressive free senior high school. However, this bill that is being taken to the parliament is neither here nor there. Because it's been 8 years of implementing free senior high school. Every policy after some time would have to go under review. We look at the challenges we are going through. We look at how we will be able to solve those challenges to make it a good one at that. Looking at the free senior high school, I was expecting the education minister to even concentrate on the challenges and how to rectify them. You go to some schools, there was a time where secondary school had challenges with electricity because you get to their school and the whole place is dark. You go to other schools and they have challenges with water. Some children even feed 1 time a day if the parents don't have money to send them for their, breakfast and I think lunch or something. I am a living testimony to it. I have a child who is in the secondary school. And even this morning, Lily, I will not sit here and say this because of politics. Even this morning when I was coming, he called me. I had to tell him that, please, I am late. When I finish my program, I'll get back to you. He called me that, Mommy, I'm hungry and that there is no food at the dining. And please, if you can help send me something for food. Just this morning. Just this morning. And so these are the challenges surrounding the free senior high school. It got to a time where His Excellency John Dramani Mahama made mention of we reviewing free senior high school. At that point, including
reviewing meaning?
Okay, so that is where I am getting to. At that point, including the president himself and all the MPP party hierarchies, automatically the dictionary changed, and so review became cancellation to them. But interestingly, this time around, in the vice president's talk, he made mention of reviewing the free senior high school. And so when I heard that, I asked myself, the difference between his review and that of what John Dramani Mahama said. What I am trying to say is that the free senior high school currently is going through challenges. Challenges we all cannot deny. The truth of the matter is, when we were paying, of course, the enrollment was a bit down. When it is free, the enrollment is a bit up, yes. But some of these challenges we are facing till now, after 8 good years of implementing this free senior high, is school facilities. And so some of the children would have to go to school 2 months, come back home 3 months, and go back the next 2 months, and then spend about 40 days in school and come back. As we speak now, we have the Form 3s and then the Form 1s in school. In the next 2 months, I think the Form 1s went somewhere last month. So in next month, the Form 1s would have to come back home. And then the Form 2s would also go back.
Because the Form 3s are preparing for their WASI.
Very well. And then they will go back and they will spend 40 days and come back after 8 good years of implementing free senior high. Are we not at this point? There is no government. Lily, let's get all clear. There is no government that is coming to cancel free senior high. Originally, by now, the Ministry of Education should be thinking on how we can get more facilities so that the children will have their normal first term, second term school like we used to have it, the full 3 months, come back home 1 month and go back to school. You see, because of this blue, red, green and stuff, some of the children don't even know they are seniors. Some of the children don't even have access to some petty education they have to get alongside with the academic education. We are having textbooks challenges. And so, taking a bill to Parliament, making it a law so that no party or no government will cancel it, it's neither here nor there, because nobody is coming to cancel free senior high school. It has come, it's good, and we have accepted it, and we are going to...
Should we then pass this bill, if it is presented in Parliament? The Education Minister is expected to present it. Should we then pass this bill? Because you admit that free SHS has come to help a lot of parents.
What I'm saying is, taking a bill to Parliament is not the most important thing.
Which
now,
is?
Because no government is willing to cancel free senior high school. But what is more important is to look around the challenges we are facing now, work around it. That is why I started by issuing the facilities. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama built E-blocks. And we have some of them in the bushes that is still left to rot. We have some who are supposed to have a boarding facility to make it more attractive. Just recently, there is a school in the news saying that they used to have over 200 students. But because of bad routes, because of lack of a boarding facility, a lot of students have dropped out and are no longer coming to school. And they are losing more of their students. And so what is important now for the Ministry of Education to do is to ensure that the textbooks the children are supposed to get. Lily, could you believe that up until now, the Form 1 students have not received their uniforms? Up until now. And they are almost ending the first year class and they are going to the second year class. They have not still received their uniforms. Not to talk of textbooks. So if a child has gone through Form 1 without a textbook, how do you expect that child to perform? I had to go get my boy his textbooks by myself because I can't wait for the government, because I know
I actually did the same.
Very good. Because I know it is not going to happen anytime soon. And so I had to go and get him his textbooks.
But don't you think that is why they are giving them tablets to augment?
How many kids have the tablet?
Well, they've started. Well, you know that it is in phases. So the first phase will have. They have earmarked certain schools.
Lily, why are you buying to this propaganda and cheap
It is not propaganda.
Listen.
You see, for me as a parent, anything that will augment a child's education, it's important.
Lily, does your child have his laptop right now?
No. So let me add. However, it is imperative to note that you cannot promise a child to give a child something and fail. Because as of now, my ward that has not received any tablet, and she's in SHS3. Yes.
Lily, let me also ask.
And she's
I'm not here to ask you questions anyway, but let me top this up. Lily, let me top this up. Your child do not have a laptop now. Is anybody tablet? Is anybody in her school? Has anybody in the school received his or her laptop?
Well, today, for instance, there will be distribution of some tablets to the Opokuwari school in the Ashanti region. Okay. A few of the schools we went to in the Greater Accra region, in this enclave, ATTC, Accra High, a number of the students said they had not received the tablets. But we are aware that today there will be distribution of tablets.
Since when has this been implemented, or since when has it been mentioned?
This was about 2 months ago when it was launched by the Vice President.
Okay.
I remember because I was there.
And so when you're talking about the tablet, this is a child who is offering science in school. Of course, tablet is going to help. Has that child gotten his textbook?
That's a critical question to ask.
Your child is in the Form 3.
Yeah.
About
science.
to write WASI. If you had not gotten her the textbooks, how would she have managed?
And extra classes, even in school. I'm actually paying for extra classes
and
in school
even
now.
after school. Because when my child comes home, I'd have to pay 1,000 cedis for a classes, because I can't afford to have my child home for the next 2-3 months. So these are the challenges we are talking about. These are what we expect the education minister to work around. Taking a bill to parliament, making it a bill and then pass it is not what is important. Make that policy you have brought, make it very effective. Make it productive. Let the children feel that indeed you are giving us a free education, but it is as productive as we should have paid. Let a parent feel that, no, my child is getting a free education, but I am enjoying it just like if I have to pay, and I am getting exactly what my child is supposed to get. But don't just slogan it and then sit back and then you don't really care what. Look, what the MPP is good at is issuing slogans and go to a school, paint it, do some 1 or 2 renovations, and then that is an achievement. Nobody is against free senior high. Nobody is against it. I am not against it. I'm not sure you're against it, Lily, and none of us here is against it. But what is important is for the minister to understand that, look, there are challenges around the policy, and that what do we have to do to make sure we work around it? It's 8 years, Lily. 8 good years, almost, that this policy was
implemented. Yeah.
So why do we still have challenges? Of course, we would have challenges, but those challenges should not be challenges we faced right from first year when it started till now. Because some of the challenges we faced right from the day it was implemented was school facilities. 1. 2, it was water problem. Some of the schools lack water. 3, it was electricity. And then 4, it was textbooks. So if you have promised a child that, okay, this is free senior high school, the only thing you have to do is bring your clothes. That is it. You'll be fed. You'll be offered textbooks and exercise book. And you have not given that child what you have promised him or her.
Okay.
And then you go ahead and say, I want to pass it and make it a bill. And so what about what you promised the child? How effective is it? How well do you think that the child will be able to learn? Because there are lots of parents who, by just the government saying that we are going to offer the students textbooks, have refused to buy textbooks for their kids. And so their kids had to either borrow from their mates whose parents have bought them textbooks, or they would have to learn by the notes they receive, which is not effective. And so this bill they are taking to Parliament, nobody is against it. 1, nobody is against free senior high school, and nobody is ready to cancel any free senior high school. What is important is that we work around the challenges. Because if we all look around, Lily, I don't have to talk much because you also have a child.
Yes,
you understand exactly what I am saying.
All the challenges that there are, but unfortunately we're out of time. Tabitha. In 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, okay. So it's unfortunate. If you know you don't want to cancel it, then you should be supporting the bill so that it will be passed very quickly, because Ghana cannot wait to be developed. Another thing, she was talking about the challenges. Nobody said there are no challenges, but the truth is that if we all come together as a nation and support this particular policy, it will be a success story.
Right.
You talk about students not having enough, you are wrong. Now students go to class at 7 and close at 4. Look at the hours, the contact hours. It used not to be so. Students used to close at 2, latest 2:30. But now secondary schools have expanded or extended their contact periods. And so what they would have covered in a term has drastically increased. So please, if you don't know, ask.
Okay, we have to go.
Yes, another thing has to do with where she was talking about the tablets. The tablets, as you rightfully said, is in phases. And so the schools will be given as and when a school is due to collect. And so please, let's not rush the system. Let's all support it. And probably you can also talk to
we're out of time.
No, Lily,
so that this
Lily, you need to clear my name.
Because
I didn't make mention of the children not having enough. Lily, you said that you even pay for extra classes for
extra
your
teaching,
child
yes.
in your school. So please get that. I didn't say that. I did not say that there is no enough time. Lily has a child in the secondary school, and Lily is telling you and your government is that some of the challenges is that she is paying for extra classes in school, and she is telling your government that she has bought her textbooks with her own money.
Okay, ladies, thank you very much. So Tabitha Ila is a member of the NDP Communications team. Haja Sadat Alasan is a member of the NDC Communications team. Haja, maybe next week if you come early, we'll exhaust the topic. So that's it for the breakfast review. My name is Lily Mohammed. We are back. So those of you, we'll talk about it. We'll still continue the conversation on education. Those of you who want to jackba, I have juice for you. Stay with me. Welcome back to the show. Let's talk about the AMI Africa Expo, shall we? My guest is the Director for Corporate and Legal Affairs at AMI Africa, Albert Chris Sobo, joins me. Good morning, Albert. How are you?
Good morning, Lily. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the expo. What is it about?
So the expo is basically a platform for businesses to, present themselves to the public, especially the people in our audience aggregation, because we're a brand that's been around for 9 years. So we've collected, a number of people in our cachet. So we're presenting the businesses that sign on to present to those people that we have in our cachet. That's essentially.
And when is it?
So it's a 3-day affair from the 14th to the 16th. We start on Friday and then end on Sunday. And then throughout the days we have a number of activities that will be going on.
So why did you conceive this idea?
Well, like I said, the idea, it was the intersection between us wanting to shine a spotlight on Ghanaian businesses, African Ghanaian businesses, and the audience that we'd aggregated. So if you think about it, the idea was sort of an X type of thing, right? So this is our audience, this is the business we want to highlight. So that's how the expo came about. So it's actually kind of poetic. So we wanted to, you know, through 9 years of building our brand, step up to the next level where we could, you know, present businesses to the audience in our cachet.
Is it open to every business, or there's a
Yes,
particular
so
criteria you
yeah,
need to meet?
no, it's open to every business actually. So far we have fashion lifestyle, we have transportation, we have even government organizations joining. It's open to all businesses as long as you apply and then pay the dues that buy the booth that you have to buy.
Oh, you buy a booth.
Yeah.
And then you can partake.
Yeah, and then you
so
can partake.
when I come for this expo, what am I to see?
So when you come for the expo, there's so many things happening. So on the first day, first of all, the business exhibitions will run through the 3 days, right? But the first day, we have a conference called the Inspiring Greatness Conference Forum. And then we have an art exhibition. We have a fashion installation. We have a playground for kids. We have a gym workout area. We have a play area where people can go play. So there's so many things happening. On the second day, we were having a mini concert called Live in the Park, where I think we have Kiddy performing.
Okay.
So people
we
who
haven't seen him in a while, so
yeah,
it'll be refreshing to see him.
Exactly, yeah. So people coming for the forum. It's free for everyone.
Free?
Yeah, just free entrance. So
I
people
love
come in.
freebies. So.
Yeah, yeah. So people come in will have the opportunity to, you know, shop and then listen to Kiddy. And we on the third day, which is Sunday, we have the fashion show, but that is strictly by invitation.
Okay,
'Cause,
so fashion show. So businesses get to exhibits,
Yes.
or I can just come in and showcase my wares. Do I need to be a partaker of the expo to showcase?
Yes. So there are businesses who've signed on to exhibit, and those businesses will showcase their stuff on the fashion during the fashion show.
And people get to buy?
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. So ordinarily, people will see what they like and then approach the designers to buy them. Yeah.
Okay. When does it start and what time does the gate close?
So it starts at 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. from Friday to Sunday. So it's a weekend affair. You know, you could come with your family, you could come with your friends. There's something for everybody. There's a playground for kids.
I was going to ask that. I mean, it's a weekend, so if I'm a parent, where then can I take my kid? Is my kid welcome?
Yeah, your kid is welcome. There's a playground. You could just log them in. Obviously, you have to sign forms and then log them in, and then they can play while you shop. We have a bar area for old people. We have a game area for people who want to have fun. We have a place for working out. We've partnered with Fit Trip. So on Saturday, you could come with your friends. You could pass there with your friends and then work out a little. So we have something
so
for everybody.
it's an inclusive package.
Yeah, for everybody.
Wow.
We're trying to make it as big as we can.
And how much must I pay to participate?
It's free.
It's free.
Entry. Yeah.
Oh,
you
free.
Free entry.
I don't need to pay anything.
No, you don't need to pay anything.
Oh wow! Please, when again is the date?
The 14th to 16th June.
So it's from Friday, this Friday.
Yeah, this Friday to Sunday. Yeah.
Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
What time does it start?
9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
9 a.m. to
each
9
day.
p.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's open in the morning. You could come. Only time you have to spend money is if you want to buy something. But other than that, it's free.
Who are the people who are participating in this, so that if I know my favorite people?
Yeah, so we have Udine, we have Ministry of Tourism, we have Mercedes-Benz, we have
so everything.
Everything, like it's
so
cars,
if you want to buy a car,
the houses, Trasaco is there. You know, there's so many. Milton is coming. So many businesses are gonna be there. Yeah.
Interesting. So this Friday through till Sunday.
Yeah.
Where again?
Accra International Conference Center.
Okay.
So it's right around here. If you feel like you want to have fun with your friends and family, just pass through. Yeah.
And what more do I expect if I come through?
So you expect to connect with people, have fun, get exclusive deals. So we've the brands that we've partnered with, they're given exclusive deals on that or during that weekend. So deals that you wouldn't ordinarily get in stores. So that's where you can
we get lots of discounts.
lots of discounts. So just come through, you know, and meet their brands. And
But is it late for any business to want to be part of this?
I think today after 12 p.m. today is too late because you know we have to do the branding materials, the brochure, and all of that. So after 12 p.m. today is closed.
It's over. So
yeah.
if you're a business out there, you want to participate, this is the time. You have from now to through till 12 p.m.
Yeah.
And then you can participate. Showcase your wares. You might never know. Somebody may be interested in that. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Is it the first of its kind?
Yes, the first of its kind. We're gonna keep it going. So you know we want to open the Ghanaian market to some of these innovations. So yeah.
That's good to know. Albert Chrisobo is the Director Corporate and Legal Affairs at EMI Africa. We're back shortly. Now, did you know that in Ghana, about 15 to 18,000 babies are born with sickle cell? That's quite alarming, and so there is a need for us to have a holistic conversation about sickle cell. My guest this morning is Awochu Messi. She is the Executive Director for the Ghana Foundation for Sickle Gene Action. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I am
good
well,
to have
thank you.
I'm doing well myself. We're managing. We're managers of the country, so we're managing. But let's understand sickle cell. There are a lot of misconceptions, myths concerning sickle cell. To the layman, what is sickle cell?
So, to the layman, and actually being a care provider myself, I will not speak in medical terms, but what I tell parents who have worked with sickle cell disease is that, I mean, sickle cell, as we explained it, is a blood disease that comes about when a person inherits two abnormal genes from their parents. So the misconception about maybe, you know, they only got it from one side and not the other, it's not necessarily true, although it could, you know, very well contribute. So once you acquire those genes, and it could either be SS, SC, SF, beta, tau beta. If once you contract any of those genes, then you have sickle cell disease.
Okay.
So when you realize that you have sickle cell disease, is that you have to go through. There's a test called the electrophoresis test, HB electrophoresis test. So when that is conducted, it will tell you the genes you have, which would then conclude that you have sickle cell disease. When you have it, normally the first 6 months of a child's life, they still have some blood from the mother, so we don't necessarily see a lot of symptoms. But once that wears out, then we start seeing the child starts experiencing symptoms of the illness. It's a lifelong illness.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And the symptoms vary in so many regards. We even call it the silent illness, because sometimes you may not necessarily see the damage that it's actually impacting the person's life until it's too late. So from anemia to pain crisis, any part of the body where there's bone, there can be a pain crisis, to acute chest syndrome, which is, an infection that happens in your chest area. Sometimes you have leg sores. Sometimes you have, issues with your spleen, because the spleen purifies the blood, and because the sickling blood gets stuck to the spleen a lot, it's not able to purify it effectively, and so the spleen has to work overtime, and with that, it weakens it. So sometimes you have issues with your spleen that can also affect your liver, your kidneys.
So it means it comes with a lot of complications.
It does. It does.
And how do I know that I have sickle cell? For a parent who has a child with sickle cell, is it always the case that a parent must have the sickling before a child gets it, or there are cases where no traces from both parents, but you have a sickling child?
Not necessarily, because you only get it by acquiring abnormal genes from your parents.
It's genetic.
It is. It is. That is why it's important, especially when we come to genetic counseling, to ensure that people know and understand the extent of the illness, so that when you're choosing your partner, you know that you have somebody that compatibility matters when it comes to your genotype. But then, the good thing, as we're talking, you'll find that the good thing is that now there are treatment options for people who may have it and would want to have children. There are fertility treatments that have.
So it is preventable now.
It's in a way, from what I understand, it's preventable from passing it on to your offspring through some kind of fertility treatment and options that are available. So science is moving forward.
In the past, when you know somebody who has sickle cell, you consider them a walking dead. Today, science has evolved.
Yes.
Would you still call or consider somebody who has sickle cell a walking dead?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, they used to be called sicklers.
Yes.
Now that is a no-no word. That is an abomination. You don't call anybody a sickler. That means you're colo. Right now, you say a sickle cell warrior because they are, they are fighting the most incredible battle there is to fight, and they are doing a great job fighting the battle. Right now, there are treatment options that are available. We have the guidelines for treatments, which was established. A good mentor of mine, Professor Frimpong, who used to head the Sickle Cell Foundation of Ghana, he was very instrumental in helping establish these guidelines for treatment. And basically, what those are, evidence-based steps that any practitioner provider can follow to manage and help somebody with sickle cell, treat them so that they can have less crisis, but they can have a more fulfilling quality of life. So there's this revolutionary medication called hydroxyurea.
Okay.
And it's a brilliant medication because studies have shown, and we have actually testified, those of us in the sickle cell community have testified that it actually does wonders for anybody with sickle cell disease. It decreases their symptoms significantly to the point where if you were going to the hospital for crisis-related matters, maybe 10 times a year or 20 times a year, some people are not even going to the hospital at all.
Wow.
So it's that, it's that big of a deal. And then there are other sort of preventative measures and treatment therapies and guidelines that people have to follow. There's what we call the transcranial Doppler. It's a detection for detecting signs of stroke. Now, anybody with sickle cell as early as 2 years old can suffer a stroke. So these tests are important. Yes.
That's quite deadly. For a 2-year-old?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, you should go to Kolibu right now and see the children who have, who have suffered stroke as a result of having sickle cell disease. So there's a test that can be done, and so it's done routinely to follow a person to ensure that they are not, showing any signs of stroke. Your diet is also one of the things, but also knowing and understanding what your triggers are so that you can manage that situation. And then also ensuring that you are working with your treatment providers, your doctors, you're attending sickle cell clinics routinely so that they can continue to monitor you. Because when you're, specifically with regards to the medication I was talking about, the hydroxyurea, if you're taking that medication, you have to be followed and monitored by a doctor closely, and that requires routine lab work and blood tests that are done to ensure that your levels are okay. So with that, you have to ensure that you're going to the hospital regularly, routinely. Sometimes your doctors might not even want to see you for months. They'll say come once every 3 months because you're doing so well on the medication, but we still need to monitor you and make sure you're taking it regularly. The good thing about Ghana right now is that hydroxyurea is currently on NHIS.
Okay.
So if you have NHIS, and so we actually encourage people to enroll into NHIS because it helps. If you have NHIS and you're going to any of our district hospitals that run sickle cell clinics, you have access to the medication from the pharmacy within that hospital setting. So that is the benefit of the medication as it is, and what NHIS has been able to do to ensure that people with sickle cell disease.
Would you say education is enough, especially for those in the rural areas, to know that the world has evolved, and so science has also evolved? So there's option available for them, because once somebody has sickle cell, they deem them to have a shorter lifespan. Is this still the case? Do people have sickle cell have shorter lifespan?
No, they don't. People can live up to 70, 80, some 90 and beyond. So absolutely not. And that is because of the, the revolutionary treatment and medication options that are available right now. Education matters, and that is why the Sickle Gene Action is here to raise awareness, but also empower patients about the illness, about their options, but also, to keep them apprised of new innovative therapies that are coming that they could take advantage of. I was recently in Upper West Region, and as well as Tamale. And yes, I can tell you that education and awareness is very important because following my awareness and education session, the number of calls and people that reach out wanting to know more, wanting to know how they can get help, which medical facility to seek help in was actually quite impressive, I would say, which means that people know that this illness is there, but for some people, they don't know how to access treatment, or just know, or their knowledge of it is limited, and so it was helpful for them to learn about the illness extensively. So yes, education does matter a great deal.
Let's look at what your foundation is doing. How long has the foundation been in existence?
Well, for me as a caregiver, I've been in this journey for 16 years now.
Wow.
And so for me, it started off with my child and us relocating to Ghana 5 years ago. And so that's when I got connected to all these lovely people, Professor Kwipo, Dr. Brew at Ridge Hospital, Dinah Bedu, and a few others. And at Ridge Hospital, because that was the primary hospital that I was accessing, we were able to mobilize ourselves and form the Sickle Cell Association of Greater Accra Regional Hospital, which is Ridge Hospital. And so that is where my work in advocacy actually really started. And so with that, we have a very vibrant patient association group at Ridge. And from that experience, I thought that there was a need to move it into a more national focus. And that is where Sickle Gene Action was birthed. And so with that, obviously I got some very good mentor, which was Professor Kwipo, and some of the key aspects of the treatment that he had laid out in his 30 years of work, we just, which is beneficial to us because we know, we've experienced it. I just thought there was a need to build up on it. So we're taking everything that he's already laid out, the foundation he's laid out, and we are building on it as an organization. And so with that, we're going into hospitals, we're going into schools, we're going into all the 16 regions of Ghana to educate people, to do screenings for children who may not necessarily know that they have sickle cell disease, because there is that bit too, where even though we have a newborn screening program in Ghana, it hasn't been scaled up where it's nationally being conducted. So there's some kids who maybe might have survived, they have it, they don't know it, might have survived it till now. So when we call them the catch-up testing group. So we test them in the schools, and if they have it, then we give them the resources they need to follow through with providers within their locality. So we're doing that too. We're speaking to our Islamic community, we're speaking to our traditional leaders, everybody across the board, because it affects all of us.
Going around the 16 regions, were there certain misconceptions that you thought this should have been demystified a long time ago?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The fact that people think that if a child has sickle cell disease, the child is from the devil, that is one big one, or it's cursed. And sometimes, one parent will think that the child is suffering or is always sick because of the other parents and would blame the other parents. I would tell you that there are numerous situations where, as a result of a child having sickle cell disease, the parents have had to divorce because there were so many problems. And it was because they weren't really understanding, how the disease came about, which is from both parents. It's never one parent, it's often from both parents. And the fact that this is something that they just needed to learn more about, increase their awareness, and know how to manage it. If you know how to manage it, you can live a fulfilling life. Your child will be okay and would live as long as God wants them to be on this earth.
So For you as a parent with a ward with sickling, what were some of the most challenging moments for you?
I think, initially not really understanding the illness, obviously. So being like any other parent who didn't understand it, but also watching your child suffer, especially before hydroxyurea was introduced into the treatment options that we have currently. It was always a challenge because you were guaranteed that if the child goes swimming or they go to the beach and they get a little cold, you're bound to go to the hospital and would have to be admitted. Sometimes for 3 days, a week, sometimes you're in there for a month, maybe longer.
And you're in a cold region?
Yes, unfortunately. So you had to deal with all of these situations. However, and what, I understood in working with parents and children with sickle cell disease is that when they're going through the pain, it's so excruciating that I believe I'd asked one of the children to describe it to me. And the way they described it, it stuck with me and has never left me. They said, actually said two options. It feels like either a car is running over your arm or a knife is being used like you're cutting bone with a knife. So if you think of that, if you think of that image.
Imagine.
Yes, and the amount of pain that comes from it. And you see a child suffering.
Imagine chopping vegetables and you slit your wrist.
Just that alone is painful enough. Yes. So if you think about that, then you get to understand why, what pain is like for a person dealing with sickle cell disease. And so for me, I start looking at compassion in even our healthcare system. How are, providers treating people with sickle cell disease who go to the hospital and say, I'm in pain? Because the pain they are experiencing is quite excruciating. But if you don't understand it, you wouldn't know how to treat the person. And you wouldn't know how much compassion to actually give the person in that situation. So yeah, it's the pain. It's the pain. And for, from going to having to be in the hospital for extended periods of time, and now thankfully just having to go in and out or maybe do an appointment here and there, it's been a blessing.
What are the known causes of known symptoms of sickle cell? So if I am a parent, what do I need to look out for? Or there are certain things that anybody at all should look out for when they experience it, then they can know that, oh, these are possible signs of sickle cell, so I need to seek treatment.
Well, for every person, your makeup is different, so it's individualized in terms of what causes you pain, what your triggers are, and so understanding what those triggers are. For somebody, just walking into a cold room alone can trigger them into crisis. So understanding that and knowing that in that case, maybe I need to bring a sweater or something when I'm going to a cold area, then you do that. For some people, one of the things, the general rule of thumb is that you have to drink lots of water throughout the day, every single day, lots of water, because it helps with the blood flow and getting things moving in your system. And so it's very key. We really, really encourage people to drink a lot of water and be well hydrated. So you definitely want to do that. But beyond that, the yellowing of the eyes, the jaundice.
Is that still very common?
Not right now, especially with the medication in place, because it takes care of all of those things.
Okay.
But sometimes, let's say maybe a child is not on the medication or they aren't taking the medication consistently, then you might start seeing certain signs. If you run labs, you see that your H1B levels are low. That could also be an indication that you need to seek treatment. Or if the person's complaining of pain or unusualness in the way they normally act, but also if they have temperature. One of the key things that I also introduced in Ghana, and I think most of our healthcare providers in the sickle cell community are doing a great job with that, is that usually when you go to the hospital or before you go to the hospital, they'll say if you're in pain or if you have a temperature, it cannot go above a certain threshold. If the minute you get the threshold that you see, you have to run to the hospital immediately for care. So parents recognizing that is very important, but also listening to the child. Sometimes the child can have a simple toothache. If it becomes an infection, it could be life-threatening. Right. Yes, so really, really listening to your child and working with the doctors that are helping you manage the illness so that they can have that frequent flow of communication when it comes to your child's needs.
How fatal is sickle cell and what's the fatality rate?
Life-threatening death. So that is why we want people to know and understand that there are options to prolong your life, to decrease your crisis, so that you can live a fulfilling life. Because the more crisis you get, the weaker your organs get. Because with every crisis going in and out of the hospital, it's affecting one organ or the other. So if you know there are treatment options, just like any other life-threatening illness, you're better able to take care of yourself. If you know there's a guideline for treatment that you can follow and do simple things to keep yourself and it's your body in its optimum best, then you know that you can prolong your life. We want people to understand that, but we also want people to know that if you have a crisis or if you have symptoms, don't wait. Make sure you seek help so that you can, because time is of essence. You need to make sure that if it's severe enough, you get to the hospital in time, so that if they have to maybe give you blood transfusion, medication, whatever the case is, they can start that right away. So knowing that, which is awareness and understanding the nature of it, you're better able to take care of yourself and prolong your life.
You mentioned blood transfusion. One of the things I realized was a number of them require constant blood transfusion. Yes. Why is that the case?
That because, again, it's a blood illness, right? So the sickling blood breaks down very easily. Everybody, if you have what we call the normal blood, which is the blood that does not have any sickling in it, that can go up to 90 days before it breaks down. For somebody who has sickling blood, you're about 21 days. So that's your cycle. That's how quickly your blood breaks down.
So after every 21 days, you need new blood?
Well, no, you don't need new blood. Your blood needs to replenish itself. Because blood carries oxygen and other things, parts, it kind of runs all throughout the body. So, but when you have the sickling trait, your blood doesn't work as the other blood that other people have, which can last up to 90 days or more. So knowing that, it means that for some people, especially if you're not on the hydroxyurea medication, because what the hydroxyurea medication does is to
is that
give
also
you,
on the NHI?
That is what is on the NHIS,
okay,
yes.
great.
So that is what prolongs your blood to be able to, again, withstand for a longer period of time before it, renews and then replenishes itself. But if you don't have that, and you go into the hospital and you are severely anemic, you have to be given you have to be given blood transfusion. Sometimes they do that too because your blood levels are low, so they have to replenish you immediately before they can start treatment. Sometimes they do that too to get, if there's a good amount of iron in your system because of the sickling of your blood. They'll have to maybe take out that blood and then replenish it with more of like a healthier blood so that you can...
So that will be like a dialysis, right?
It's called exchange transfusion, yes. It kind of works. The mechanism is similar to dialysis but it's not something that you do frequently, although for some people it's part of their treatment option because that's what they require.
Going round, you realize that we have a lot of empty blood banks. How do people with sickle cell manage?
Blood need is an issue that we have found it necessary to speak about. Thankfully, part of our World Sickle Cell Day activities is partnering with the International Sickle Cell Center with ISCC, and they are also in partnership with the National Blood Bank. So there's going to be a blood drive on the 15th, this Saturday, at Tang Palace. We're collecting blood. And also we want to encourage people to give blood, because when you give blood, then people with sickle cell disease can access blood when it's needed. We understand that there's often a challenge when it comes to availability of blood. So we do champion, blood drives and donations a lot. And for people who don't see the need to, if you give blood, you're saving somebody's life. It's as simple as that. If you're giving blood, you're saving somebody's life. So please do.
Is there enough funding for initiatives like this, persons living with sickle cell?
Not really. Not really. So we also ask that if anybody's interested in helping us, that they can donate to our cause for us, Sickle Gene Action. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook, but also through our website, sicklegeneactionghana.com. It's a good place to go and donate. We currently have a GoFundMe running to solicit funding, because one of the things we want to do this year is, as you know, in addition to visiting, all the 16 regions again, because we've been to a number of them, but we want to go back because there's a lot more work that needs to be done. We also want to sponsor at least 100 people with sickle cell disease with a medical bill for the year. So whatever that is, we want to be able to sponsor them, because what we found in going around the regions is that for some people, the barrier is money resource. They would go to the clinic, they will get prescribed medication, but they might not be able to afford it because maybe at the time, the one on NHIS is not readily available. So there are those issues that we have to face, or they have to go to the lab and get their labs run, or you have to go and do a transcranial Doppler test, which is quite an expensive test. It's almost like an ultrasound kind of test they do on the brain, and that costs a lot of money too. So those are the things that we're looking at. So we have a GoFundMe that is running, Sickle Gene Action GoFundMe page, where people can donate. We also have, our website is the best place to donate, which is sicklegeneactionghana.com. So if anybody wants to donate, we have options there, Momo, whatever the case is, and they can donate to the cause.
Sickle cell.
It is very expensive. It is very expensive. But what makes it affordable is being on, your medication treatment, implementing the treatment guidelines. That makes life so easy, because if you're going into the hospital for admissions and you're paying, let's say, $2,000 every time you go for admission.
How many people can afford that?
Exactly. So now you're taking medication that's, if you had to pay for it out of pocket, maybe 300 cedis a month. Or if NHIS, you're getting the coverage, you're getting the medication for free, then it's free. Then you don't have to go to the hospital, and you save yourself 2,000 cedis. And, the government, NHIS also saves money, because they don't have to supplement the hospital bill that you incurred. So yes.
For those of you who do this work, is it rewarding?
It's fulfilling when we know we can save lives. When we're going to the regions, some of the calls that come in, and even afterwards, the people that call our line just to share their stories, it's heartbreaking. Sometimes you find out a child was, tested through the newborn screening for sickle cell, but the parents didn't follow through. And so you go back to follow up with the child, and the child is dead. So you hear these stories a lot. And sometimes, lack of awareness, right? There was a farmer that called, and he didn't know that he and his wife were both SS. So all 3 children they've had, 2 of them have passed away due to complications. They didn't know. And so it was the third one that they got to find out that they both were not able to, as long as they were going to continue to have children, the children were going to have sickle cell disease.
But you mentioned earlier that now science has evolved, so persons with SS can actually have children without SS.
They can. There are fertility options, IVF options, I understand, has advanced to that stage. But you do need to speak to somebody who's specialized in that field, so that they can actually take you through the process. It's not cheap either.
I asked if it's rewarding because, when you go to a number of these rural communities, they have entrenched perceptions about sickle cell. They think that alternative medicine is the way to go. Is alternative medicine the option for people who cannot afford certain medication?
Because sickle cell is quite a complicated illness, it is best to have, work with all your providers.
Okay.
So without understanding, what might be included in alternative medicine, I would say the person will need to speak to, the person treating them from alternative medicine needs to speak to the doctor, the medical doctor. So together they can determine what is best for the person with sickle cell disease. I know that the MOH has been, doing a lot of work around a national agenda for sickle cell disease. And one of the things that I experienced was that they brought together stakeholders in the sickle cell community. And in that meeting, there were people from alternative medicine and other groups of people that were there, which means that, some people have found benefit in alternative medicine. but we have to work together. So there has to be open communication across the board, because it's one illness that needs comprehensive approach. So you have to work with all of your doctors, and all your doctors need to be talking to each other to make sure that they're giving you the best care.
Okay. Oh, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And I hope that you get the support that you need.
Thank you.
So that's Awuchu Missy. She's the Executive Director for the Ghana Foundation for Sickle Gene Action. I think that it's a conversation that doesn't need to stop now. We need to continuously talk about sickle cell so people can get the help that they need. That's it for Health Alert. For the break, I mentioned that those of you who want to Jakba. See, Jakba is Jakba. Whether it is in Kenya, whether it is in Ethiopia, whether it is in London, whether it is in America, Jakba is Jakba. So far as we've left the shores of Ghana, Uabuchi. But let me tell you how you can do that. Mastercard Foundation, in collaboration with Pearson PT, is bringing some juicy conference where you get access to information and you get access to a scholarship. Listen, it is fully funded. I am interested. I hope you are too. My guest this morning, Ujimi Odame Yeboah, is Designation Business Development Specialist, Pearson PTE. Jennifer Selassie King is MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program alumni. She's an alumnus of the University of Pretoria. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
As for this conversation, let me sit up because I'm very excited. Now, if we say Pearson, what is Pearson before I come to?
Pearson is basically the world's leading learning company. And under that umbrella, we have a number of businesses that is interested in providing tailor-made solutions, both print and digital, right from the preschool level through to university, through to workforce skills. We have assessments as well. And of course, Pearson PTE. So we assist people throughout their journey of learning. You know, learning never stops.
Absolutely.
And so we are there for our audience every day, every time.
You mentioned PTE. Pearson, what does PTE stand for?
So that's basically the acronym for Pearson Test of English. That is a test or a secured English language test that has been developed by Pearson to assist those who want to study or migrate abroad. More often than not, when people want to study or migrate abroad, they are required to show proof of English language proficiency. And that is why we developed PTE.
Okay.
Now, why would anybody want to take PTE? Exactly. So PTE is a single 2-hour test, fully computer-based, no face-to-face assessment during the taking of the test. It assesses your speaking, writing, reading, and listening skills. And then the results are approved by the Australian, New Zealand, UK, and Canadian governments if you want to migrate abroad. For those who want to study abroad, we have over 3,500 institutions giving us recognitions worldwide. Universities in the US, universities in South Africa, universities in Australia, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, another key feature of PTE is that within 48 hours of taking the exam, you get your results.
Okay.
You don't have to queue to get a booking date. You don't have to wait 3 weeks, get panic attacks before your results are released. No, within 48 hours, you get your results. And you can share the results with as many institutions as possible without any charge. So
Without a charge?
Without a charge. It's free.
Oh, wow.
You know why? Because we've given the institutions access to a portal, which makes it easy for them to verify the scores of the test. So it's pretty straightforward, easy and simple.
So for those of you who remember this catchment, Sister Akus. So our very own teacher Blessing is the superstar of Pearson PTE.
Exactly.
Yes. And she teaches us English language. We all learn from her. So it's important that you're here this morning to tell people why it is necessary to learn English, especially in our quest to study abroad. But for you as an alumnus, what was the experience when you went to the University of Pretoria? Even through Pearson, getting to Pretoria, what was the experience like? Take us through.
Okay, so for me, I studied my master's in food science at the University of Pretoria.
Good science.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm a beneficiary of the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. So for the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program, basically it's a program that provides comprehensive scholarship to African students. And their pillars is based on 4 pillars for those who have a socioeconomic barriers such as financial need, people of disability, and refugees, as well as students who have a high academic excellence. So the 4 pillars are based on financial need. The second is leadership, and then we have community engagement, which is give back, and also academic excellence. So for me, my experience, I can put it in 2 words: growth mindset. So for me, having been a beneficiary of the program, there's one thing that transformed about me, that I learned that I could improve or develop my intelligence or my abilities. So that's one wonderful thing about the scholars program. It doesn't just cater for your fees and your flight tickets and everything, but then it takes you through leadership programs, because the whole aim is to make sure that we as African students, we bring ourselves up as leaders in order to cause progress in the African continent.
So you become change makers.
Yes, exactly.
That's an interesting one. How was the journey? Was it exciting? Was it a bit of adrenaline, excitement? What was it like for you?
It's a bit of both, because I think for me, what intrigued me the most was having to study in the University of Pretoria. I met people from different parts of Africa who are doing mind-blowing things. Like, I saw people younger than me that are doing things before coming to the program I thought was impossible. But it really changed my mindset. I met so many people. I tell people today that if I decide to go to Kenya, I have a place to sleep, because I know people in so many parts of Africa.
Social capital.
Yes, exactly.
Now I'm eager. so if you are like me, who is eager, now let me bring you the juicier part. So there's a conference. Is a study abroad conference.
Seminar.
Okay. So for those of you who want to jackpot, Charlie, listen to her.
Okay, so on the 15th of June, which is this Saturday, I see, this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., we are hosting, and this is the interesting part, the very first PSMPTE student seminar and fair. It's the first in Ghana.
How come over the years you have never done that?
So it's the first in Ghana, and at this fair, we're going to highlight the whole process of kickstarting your study abroad journey. I mean, there are people who want to travel abroad or study abroad, but they don't know where to start from. They don't know what to do. They don't know what is required. And that is why we have put together this conference. No matter where you want to study, all we're saying is come and learn the process. There are going to be resource persons there to help us with the knowledge we need to kickstart that journey. And then, of course, we're going to tell you all you need to know about PSMPTE, why it is the preferred English language test of choice if you want to study or migrate abroad. And then, of course, the MasterCard Foundation will also be there to give you everything you need to know about their fully funded scholarship. And I stress on fully funded scholarship because
what more can you ask?
People ask of that, madam, do you have scholarship? Are you providing scholarship? Everybody wants scholarship. So we're saying, come to this event, CD Conference Center, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., University of Ghana, Legon, and admission is free. You don't have to pay anything.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and lastly, you would also, or participant will also get the opportunity to interact with study abroad agents there at the fair. There are a number of them, like Blessing will say, not the Kululu ones, but the registered ones who are going to be there to walk them through the process. So no matter the location.
You know when you hear study abroad, a lot of people think it's a cumbersome process. I need to look for somebody, an agent who try and use all the Kululu means to get me there. It's expensive. Is it expensive?
Well, it depends on the destination. It depends on the course you're also going to undertake. But then, like we said, it is a process. You don't just get up one morning and say, I want to study abroad. And it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
It takes a while before you go through the process.
What's the longest process it can take?
Like I said, it depends on the location you're going. Some can take 3 months. Others can take 6 months. Some can even take up to a year. That is if you either want to study or you want to migrate. It depends on your goal. But usually the study ones are pretty faster. And if you're getting a fully funded scholarship, that makes it easier for you as well. But of course, you need to have made your mark at the previous educational institution. I don't think Jennifer would agree that people would have 4th class, 3rd class, and then they would be given scholarship.
A pass.
She mentioned that they are looking for academic excellence, but then they need help.
I wanted to ask that. So who qualifies to be in the program?
So who qualifies to be in the program? So as long as you have a good academic standing. So one thing
what does it mean to have a good academic standing?
Okay, so I would say, so the cutoff point is 70%.
Okay.
But then if they also want to know more about who qualifies for the program, I would encourage them to come for the event because we're going to cover everything over there. Yes, for now we know that the cutoff point is 70%. Yes.
So if I want to enroll in the program, how do I apply?
So with the application process, it's very simple. And during the event, I'm going to take them through how to go through the process, the certificates they would need to submit in the process of application. So once they are there at the City Conference Center on Saturday the 15th, I'm going to give all that information, whatever questions, all the juice, whatever questions. They should come with their questions. I'm ready to answer everything. And we'll also be giving out pamphlets that contains all the information that they need to have.
I'm sure prior to you getting this scholarship, did you try elsewhere? Did you try traveling or any study abroad program prior to this one?
I think for me, the truth is I had always wanted to study in South Africa because I've had this mindset of staying in Africa.
It's a one-off that I am hearing. A lot of people do not want to study in Africa. Not South Africa, but in Africa.
In Africa. Yes, I think for me, I've always had this mindset that we always had to do something to make sure that the African continent progresses. So people are even asking me, why are you back in Ghana? Why didn't you stay? And I told them, I have a plan here. There's something I'm doing over here that I believe is going to help the nation. That's why I'm back here. So I've always been about studying in Africa. So for me, South Africa, studying in the University of Pretoria specifically, was something I was so interested in. But the good thing was, throughout the process, the staff in the university were very supportive. And they were the ones who introduced me to the scholarship. So it was through them that I was able to apply for the scholarship. So I think that this event is very necessary because I did not get...
I want to understand. So does it mean at this program, you have reps of all these institutions there? Or it's just reps of MasterCard Foundation?
So at this program, we have Jennifer representing the University of Pretoria.
Okay.
So she's going to walk us through what the requirements are. But then for other institutions globally, we have put together a group of certified agents or registered agents to walk them through the other destinations. So if they want to go to UK, study in the UK, if they want to study in the US, if they want to study in Australia, Canada, there are registered agents on the ground on the day to assist them with all the information they need to study abroad. This time, we didn't bring in representatives of other universities. Probably the second session of this event, we are looking at doing that. But now we want them to understand the process. Understanding the process is key because many people have started the process, gotten midway, and then they give up because they didn't get the right information to start their journey. So that knowledge or information is key. And that's what we're providing them at this Study Abroad Fair.
Okay, so is it for undergrads? Is it for master's level, PhD level?
It is for everybody. So if you want to do your undergrads, if you want to do PhD, if you want to do masters, just join us. Understanding the process is very key. And parents can actually join us on the day because for undergrads, parents need to understand the whole process in order to guide their students or their
awards.
awards in order to make the right choices. So parents being there will help them to get that ton of information. Trust me, Lily, people actually pay for this information we're going to give on the day. And so if we're providing it for free, please, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
I know people who've done what they call World War I, World War II, and they still have not been able to jackpot. So this is a perfect opportunity. But how long was your program?
So my program was for 3 years. So I started in 2021. Yes. So I completed the program in 2023.
Okay. So anybody at all can come in. It's not meant. So even if you are an SHS leaver,
you can still come and then get the knowledge, because if you're an SHS leaver,
or even if you're still in SHS,
you're still in SHS, you can come, because Jennifer kickstarted her program, I think, after SHS, right?
No, I kickstarted my program after my undergraduate program, but the MasterCard still funds the undergraduate studies, so I still have that knowledge about the undergraduate studies, which I would provide to anyone that needs that information.
June. City Conference Center at the University of Ghana is the place. Like I said, if you want to jackpot, even if it is Kenya. So it cuts across, right? It's for all countries across the world.
All countries across the world.
So far as I said, there's a school there.
So far as there's a school, you found a school of interest, and it is the same process they all go through. It's no different. The differences are usually minor, but then the whole process is usually the same.
Okay. Thank you very much. We hope to see all of you. Those of us who want to jackpot. Let's go there on the 15th. But what time? 9 a.m.?
9 a.m. sharp. They should be there. Please, we're not using the Ghana man time. So if you don't come there, if you're not there on time, you're going to miss the juicy parts. That is the very reason why we're gathered there. So please, make your way Saturday morning. Just sacrifice some of that sleep. Come there, because whatever information you're going to obtain is towards your future.
Thank you very much, ladies. Now I can jackpot in peace. My bosses are watching. Eugene Odami is Designation Business Development Specialist with Piercing PTE, and Jennifer Selassie King is MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program alumnus of the University of Pretoria. We're back shortly after this breather. Stay tuned in.